heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
So I said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Man, shout out to my mama. Man, I have to give a special shout out to my mom. I really do. She knows why. She knows why. Giving a special shout out to my mama. All right. We're going to jump right on into this, folks. I don't know if you all have seen the news, but hey, Third Eye, there has been a very interesting analysis on, you remember the Las Vegas UFO situation that happened, right? There's been an evidence expert who is examined better than I've seen anyone examine this Las Vegas UFO video, and has showed some things that you all really need to know about. All right. We're going to jump right on in. Let me get my, bring my clip up here. Check this out, folks.
It's one thing to squint at a fuzzy video on YouTube and then decide space aliens do or do not exist. And it's another thing entirely to subject those sightings to the same kind of scientific rigor that puts, say, killers in prison. Scott Roeder is that kind of skeptic. He is an evidence expert and crime scene reconstructionist with 33 years of experience and 1,500 cases to his credit. He is the founder of the Evidence Room, a group that assembles specialists in forensic animation, 3D modeling, and motion graphics. He took a close look at the video that was recorded by that family in Las Vegas, and he applied his technology to try to debunk it. Here he is on his YouTube channel, Crime Scene, discussing what he calls the entity in the family's backyard.
We can take a video and look at whether or not there is an artificial artifact added to it or not. And in this case, we can definitively say, to a degree of scientific certainty, that this entity, this thing in the video, is there in the physical reality in which the Kenmore family is also there. Like, this is so critical because you can clearly see through the slots in the fence that there is a leg motion moving from the right to the left side of the screen. And clearly it is behind there. So this isn't just like a head floating in space. This is a head of that is somehow that does not have full opacity, that the opacity of the head of the shadow is only at about 33% opacity versus a normal shadow, which would be at 100% opacity, or an object in the screen, which is at 100%. And this isn't anything that you did. It's just what you were able to determine, that this shadow being, or this being in the shadows, possibly creating its own shadow or smoky filter or cloaking technique, is not only cloaking itself from the people there, but cloaking itself from the camera itself, in that it's minimizing our ability to identify pixels inside of that shadow.
I'm joined now by UFO expert Ben Hansen. He's a former federal agent and now the host of UFO Witness on Discovery Plus. Ben, it's great to have you on the program tonight again. So, I mean, your reaction to what, Scott Roeder did with his analytics, the shadow that you saw that was behind the fence as well as way above the fence. I guess your reaction to all of that.
Well, thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I'm excited because it took a while, I think, for anyone to get a copy of the raw video. I don't personally have it, but I'm glad that Scott has done this. I don't detect anything overt as a red flag that I would say that made me suspect that it was edited. So I concur with him on that. And it also appears that there is some sort of shadow that's present behind the slats of the fence, which he pointed out. And then you have kind of a head, it looks like, at the top of the fence. Where I kind of feel it might be a jump is people online then started to say, well, this is evidence of a cloaking creature of some sort. There is a lot going on in the video. If you look, there's 2 or 3 different light sources. And anytime you have that happening, you can have a lot of shadows from different angles. So unfortunately, we'll never have the same exact circumstance where we can go back and test it to see what might be causing a shadow effect.
There is this one aspect of it, and I'm not sure if our producers can just let the video go, but when they walk in past the gate, something startles them and they freak out. I mean, for lack of a better description, it's not. There's no way this is acting. Actors don't do it this well. Something startles them to the right, and they spin around and they kind of run out, and the video kind of goes, as it would if you were terrified.
It does, and I think that is genuine. If you look, I think they're looking at something towards the back of the yard, and something spooks them. Where I feel that it might be a little bit of, I don't know, call it forensic gymnastics, is to say that it was caused by this thing off to the right, because as you can see right there, that shadow appears on top of the fence, but he's not looking to the right. If this was some sort of entity that was like 3 feet away from him, I think that's what would really scare anybody. So that's where you have these theories that people are saying, well, it's partially cloaked, it's fully cloaked, didn't want to be seen, but only the video picked it up. So I don't know about that. I think just based on the video, though, it's great that we have verification that it's not been edited.
I know you talk about confirmation bias as well. Explain to the audience if how you think that might be working its way into this as an alternative theory.
Well, if you think about it and go back to the original, the whole background of what just preceded this is you had this really bright object that streaked across the sky, right? And I do believe that that now is a meteoroid, and it may have nothing to do with the family's actual sighting. They believe they saw a light come down to their backyard. And there was a lot of light and commotion, noise, and so when they went out to the backyard, they're already adrenaline's pumping. They're hypersensitive to sights and sounds. I'm in no way suggesting that they made anything up, but perception can be skewed now that this is something out of this world we're out to see in our backyard. And then anything that might have a combination of shadows or sights they're not used to, it can be amplified in your visual perception. And that's just a suggestion, but I do feel the witnesses are being credible as far as describing what they saw. And especially look at that reaction when they see whatever it is back there and they come running out of there, and it's affected at least Angel to this day. He still has trouble with what he saw.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com
All
to
right.
find News Nation on your.
So here's something I want to point out. In all of the research that I've done, just in this topic in general, right? There's no question in my mind that there's something there on that fence and right behind that fence. And this isn't the first time that we have seen, some enhancements on this video. So many of us, and shout out to you, the one, good to see you. Many of us that have analyzed this video, so much, we've always sort of pointed to right behind the fence. And so I'm really glad to see this video get analyzed like this. But I want you all to pay attention to one thing, just something very interesting. It's my observation here. From the moment that, and this is all me talking, from the moment that that craft crashed, those beings went into panic mode. And what I noticed very interestingly is when the last person walks through this fence, you'll notice they have a gun in their hand, right? I didn't see a gun in the hand of the other two people that walked in front of him. And what's very interesting to me is that this cloaked being that we can very clearly see, it's cloaked. At one point, you can actually see like what looks to be fingers or something down towards the bottom of this fence. But again, you can go and look at that. There's a lot of footage that's been enhanced. You can go check it out. But the gun brings a whole new level of danger to the situation, right? And what I noticed is this being, from the moment that the third person goes to walk through the fence with that gun out, he doesn't even see the being standing to his right. That being steps out. For all we know, if they would have kept walking, I guarantee that being would have continued walking behind them. They wouldn't have even noticed it. And it's not even just the cloaking ability that really bothers me. How do they contain their energies? Because you know how when you can you put a blindfold on, right? You can be standing somewhere. You can feel somebody standing next to you. If you're really, really tuned in, if you're tapped in, right? Not everybody can do that. But most people can feel an energy. They can feel it. Somehow, these beings, I feel like, are cloaking that energy, as well as the fact that you can see them. But I think that's something dangerous that all of us humans do, is we always bring a gun to a knife fight, right? But then again, I know it ain't no knife fight. I know in my heart it ain't no knife fight. I know they've got some weapons that easily would tear a human being up. Energy weapons, right? But I found that to be interesting. And just, you just watch. He's sitting there fooling with the gun, right? And watch how this being really gets closer, I should say. It gets closer to the last guy. Why would the being even walk out, right? Well, that being's seen that gun too. Look, that being is closer to that third person. And that's just my observation. It's interesting also how he goes to step in with that gun. That being comes, and all of a sudden he's walking back. And again, it just be, hey, got freaked out. But I'm kind of the thought that sometimes things can be uploaded or downloaded into the consciousness as well. Wow, man. Wow. Listen, let's take a look at this. This
is my first video. I'm here to tell you what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I'm trying to explain the best of my abilities. This is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making this story out for clout or fame. I just want to tell you what happened to me and my family. And I know some people are not going to believe this, but each person is different. So this is what happened to me. Keep in mind, this is midnight and I'm fixing a truck in my backyard. At this point, I'm only with my brother, and I hear something fall from the sky. I turn around. The only thing I see is a big light falling from the sky, and moments after, I feel a big impact and a bang, sort of like a big impact fall. And me and my brother looked at each other, and we were scared. But when the impact happened, it was sort of like a shock wave, like an out of body experience. So to say, when I tried to look at the object, it was all blurry, not my vision, but only the backyard area. And I hear thousands of footsteps around me, and maybe a couple seconds later, the blurriness was gone. And here's the footage of the body, the police officer's body cam, and here's the object I'm referring to, the light. Video. Here's a Ring camera video. You could hear the bang. This is around the neighborhood. So here's the video. So when that happened, the only thing I can see in the backyard is a tall creature, probably around 8-10 feet tall, very thin. So I called my dad. He went to the backyard and he saw the same thing, the same creature I saw. He told me to go inside the house. At this point, we all freaking out, me and my family. And here's the video where we were in the backyard area. You cannot see it too good, but on camera, but it's there. Here's the video.
¡Ay! Profesor! Calmungarela, me canceles var eso. Kylo, Cherro, que chica. Kylo, Cherro.
Moments after the video, me and my brother went to go pick up my tools. Then my brother calls me, and he told me shakingly, "Look behind the forklift." So I look. Keep in mind, I'm facing the forklift, and then I see the alien creature. So when I saw it, it was a tall, skinny, lengthy creature. He was a gray, greenish color, and when I looked at it in the eyes, my body just froze. Like the same experience as having sleep paralysis. Keep in mind, I'm staring at him, and I look at his whole body, and he has a weird-looking feet and a big face, and eyes, and you can see a big mouth. And I could hear his loud, deep breathing, and I could see his stomach moving. He would just stare at me. Seconds later, I could start moving again. And I start running towards the house. That's when I call 911, and here's the 911 call.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100%. They're not human.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the police to come, and you could hear footsteps in the backyard area, and a loud whispering, like you could hear whisperings. We were in the living room area, and you could hear footsteps on the roof. So we waited a little bit for the police. When they arrived, I told them what I saw, and they were kind of freaked out. Here's the body cam of the officer.
Now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or
they see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro...
So they went in the backyard, and one of the officers pointed at the floor, and it was a perfect circle. Here's a photo of the circle I'm referring to. Keep in mind, 2 officers came in my house, and one of them started running to his car, driving around the neighborhood, asking passing cars that they saw a light.
What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they
Yes.
saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
Goosebumps and freaking out. He started investigating that he told me his partner, she saw a light falling from the sky. He told me he believes me because her partner reported that she saw the same light as me. Now we're walking the front yard. Then the other officer came here. Here's a video of him talking to my family.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So, moments before they left, one of the officers told me, if I see the thing again, to don't call him, just shoot him. And you can hear in the video. Here's the video.
If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So they left, and we went inside the house, and we started praying. As we're praying, you could hear a loud human-like scream in the backyard. This is what happened to me on May 1st, 2023. I hope you guys kind of understand what happened to me. I know it's hard to believe, but I saw what I saw, and it's kind of going viral. That's why I'm here to explain the story. I did an interview with journalist Doc Papa. I'm going to put his video in the description. I'm going to make a part 2 of the stuff that happened after May 1st, and thank you for watching the video.
All right. I always like to go back and revisit that. But listen, I've got Scott Roeder's channel pulled up. This is, again, it's a channel called Crime Scene. I dropped a link to the channel in the live chat so that many of you who are on other platforms, not the YouTube platform, or on a platform where you cannot see. Well, listen, if you're on a platform where you can actually see the comments that come through, right? Again, the channel is called Crime Scene. He's picked up, as we've been sitting here watching, he's probably going to go over 1,000 subscribers today. So shout out to Crime Scene. We're definitely tapping in here. And I'm going to put a link to this, this examination into the description of this video as well. So we'll take care of that once this video has once we're done streaming. But as I just take a look, at this channel, this will be interesting. And I'm going to have to get caught up today. It looks like I've got a channel I can get caught up today. Okay. But let's take a look at this. I want to see what Scott Roeder's actually
2 shows about it, and then also did an episode of Surviving the Survivor about it, where we were met with much debunkers. Although we felt that the evidence that we had was very strong at that time. But what we have for you today, as brought to our attention by a subscriber of James Quirk's ET reality show, we've been calling our attention to a new location inside of the video that we believe clearly demonstrates an extraterrestrial being, possibly some type of a gray alien, a tall gray, in excess of 8 feet tall, with cloaking technology. We're going to get into the cloaking technology. We're going to identify this alien. We're going to do some character development to see if we can bring out from behind the shadows what truly is there. All this and more on this week's episode of Crime Scene Time Machine. As always, I love you, Planet Earth. To help support the show, please go to patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. That's patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. Only the price of a cup of coffee. And now, let's start the show.
Pussy.
I'm telling you, I think that gun may have a little something to do with how quickly that bean shot up. My God, hold on. This is going to be interesting. Is that an eye in the cloaking that we can actually kind of see a little bit of an eye there? We don't really know unless we see what's behind it, but okay. All right.
Time speed real quick. There.
Look how quick it moves.
There.
Look how quick it moves.
Okay. So let's go back. So we see the head right there. Now look at the bottom too. So you can see that? See how that shadow goes away? Okay.
No, it's not an eye. It's the branch behind it. Wow.
Right. Okay, so let's go forward.
How interesting. Sorry, y'all. I'm too quick on the mouse. I'm too quick on my mouse. Hold on. Let me reshare this back out. There we go. All right. Hold on. All right. We'll get it together here. All right. Let's go.
Clearly, that shadow on the bottom is moving with that head. So the shadow here is moving with this. What do you think?
My apologies, Twitter. I was too quick on my mouse, but you guys are being brought back in.
That's about 10 feet tall, like that. That's probably about the right proportion of head. We're about 3 boards. Crazy. To help support the show, please go to patreon.com/crime scene time machine. That's patreon.com/crime scene time machine. Only the price of a cup of coffee. So as we wait for Lewis to get back to us with a more augmented version of what's going on behind that fence, let's look at a compilation of the meteor, allegedly, that crashed in the backyard that night. So this is a compilation of all of the footage with regard to evidence of the meteor. So we've got official dash cam footage from the Las Vegas Police Department. We have several ring cameras. We can see, what people are saying is a fireball, but let's take a look. See, I've seen shooting stars, and that looks way too big. So now we've got exact time and location. This is infrared. So this is infrared. So it looks green on infrared. And the optical without heat signature. So this is not showing heat. If that was a meteor, it would have a massive heat signature because it's a fireball, right? But there's no heat signature. So now we've got a long wave infrared, and now there's no meteor. So there's no heat signature, but we see the airplane. But now we don't see the airplane, but yet we see
7 hours.
but we see the meteor. Very interesting. Now, this is verified footage. We see another view from a Ring camera or a security camera. We've got that address. We've been able to identify where those houses are. So it looks like it is coming right into Angel's backyard. Very interesting stuff. I think the most compelling is that there's no heat signature on the meteor. Now let's watch that another time. In the optical sensor, we see it green with a tail. And then with the heat sensor or the infrared, we don't see anything at all, meaning it's not emitting heat. But I wanted to get a little bit more information visually on how the heat sensors actually work relative to other items in our combustible environment with our atmosphere. So here to the left is a normal photograph from a DJI thermal drone. And then to the right is the infrared turned on. So you can see where the heat is emitted from the camera, from the thermal camera. The top of the telephone pole clearly has heat coming out of it because it's emitting electricity at that point to the wires. We can see the heat emanating off of the ground in the daytime of this, looks like a California canyon. And I wanted to compare that to, again, what we just saw of the thermal imaging of this alleged meteor, which had no heat signature. So I think that's very compelling. And here again is an example of a heat signature of a drone flying over solar panels during the day. Clearly, you can see that it will pick up the heat signature coming off of the solar panels as heat, but yet there's no heat signature in our alleged meteor. And now the next thing I want you to listen to in the other clip that has audio with the alleged meteor, and we can hear a consistent audio in all of the footage. Take a listen.
I don't know.
So clearly there's background audio on those two clips that match this object coming in. And now on the third clip with the dash cam, because the car's so loud you can't hear anything, but that is a third verified clip. Clearly it's the same angle, it's the same area. This has been verified. And then the fourth clip we have is from a self-driving car on a video that also has no audio, but clearly we've got the object coming in. So I think we've isolated the object, we've isolated the audio. There is a sound with this thing as it comes through the air. And then we obviously have the Kenmore's video about what they saw in their backyard in collaboration with this alleged meteor. And we've slowed it down to 10% and used a tracking software to track its movement. And I think the interesting thing here is that the self-driving car camera has the best, most unobstructed view. And I never see an explosion of the meteor like I've seen in other meteors. And I'll get some other footage of meteors so that we can see how a meteor explodes when it gets into the atmosphere and burns up. But this has no heat signature, and we're going to put the infrared on the next one, and let's take a look. Here's the Vegas meteor with an X-ray filter, with a duotone filter, and then with a negative image filter. Now back to the ring camera and the body cam audio video of the alien in Vegas. And now back to London. There's clearly no sound with that one. You could hear the room tone and his astonishment. So clearly that fireball had no sound to it. But yet in Vegas, listen to this, the ring camera with audio and then the body. And then here we have, again, we're going through the audio, but now here's some additional footage of meteors. You be the judge. Explode through the atmosphere. This one is in Japan in 2020. You can clearly see how a meteor explodes in the atmosphere with a trail of fire. And this one is a pretty fantastic video. I think this morning, Russia, courtesy of a meteorite explosion, showing a meteor and a prime viewing spot for many was disintegrating through the atmosphere and burning up. There's another one. This is the same Russian meteor. But you can clearly see the behavior of a meteor as it comes in. It has an explosion where it breaks up in the atmosphere. And there's typically no noise with it. And here's one in London that is about the same distance as some of the other ones that we got in Las Vegas. And clearly there's no audio.
This is Chelyabinsk, which was in the meteor shower zone. The explosive light.
Now, on this next one, I find it really compelling with regard to the audio. There is no sound with the meteor, with the shooting stars. You don't hear them, okay? But if you look at the one in Las Vegas, you hear that one. Why?
Wow. Wow.
You can clearly hear that that's what we call room tone, an atmospheric tone, that hum. So there was no sound with this one. To help support the show, please go to patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. That's patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. Only the price of a cup of coffee.
Susie.
And if you enjoyed this show, please go to patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine and show your support. It's only the price of a cup of coffee. Good morning, Lewis. How are you today?
Awesome.
Excellent. First, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for participating in this project. A little bit different than what we normally do. Obviously, you and I typically work on reconstructing homicides, car accidents, and all of these kinds of things for our day job. That's a bit of a side project that we're working on, where we are trying to identify what is going on behind the fence in this video from the Kenmore family in Las Vegas, Nevada, in 2023. And I know, I really love this character that you've developed. Now, based on what we've seen in the video, this character now is sized to scale and has been put into the video as an artifact. Now, before, we're going to get a lot of debunkers out there saying, well, how do we know that the original video doesn't have a foreign artifact in it? So my question to you, as an expert in the field of computer animation, video editing, video analysis, what have you been able to determine with regard to the original video?
Listen, I haven't said much because I'm just as pulled in, as enthralled as many of you are watching this, okay? What can I really say? I want to, I want to hear it too. So let's keep going, folks. Let's keep going.
Whether or not this
is
thing
the
that
YouTube
we
channel
see
Crime
here,
Scene, a man by the name of Scott Roeder.
So my question to you is, how can we be so sure that the original video does not have any artifacts in it, adding in these beings?
The key point to notice this, it's the lighting, like I said before in a previous meeting. So you can be sure that there is something in the video, because normally when we do digital compositing, there is a way or path that normally you can see in the pixels, because as you know, at the moment to add other elements, make some overlays at the moment to create the compositing, you can see the different in the pixelization and the pixels. But this video has not been altered in any way. It's a original source. It's a original video. After a review several times and use a special software to track all this motion, vector motion, I noticed that the shadow that you can see over the fence in reality it's in the video. It's not been placed for an artist or any special guy that do special effects or stuff like that. As you can see in my screen, you can see this
right. Yeah, those are our tracking
point.
Tracking points of all things moving in the environment.
Exactly.
I see. So this is how the light is refracting off of the object that's moving. Is that correct?
Right. That's correct. So the key point here, it's try to understand that the shadow of the head of this entity, it's in reality in the video. At the moment you use special software to track the motion of the vector, like I said before, after make some stabilization of the video, and then make a technique used in special effect named match move. I noticed that in reality the motion, the vector motion and the shadow follow perfectly without any error, because when you mix several layers in compositing using digital compositing software, there is always a kind of a little range of error in the motion of the pixels, but this matches perfectly. So I can tell you that this entity, the film, this artifact or whatever, at the moment, it's there. It's into the frame. It's into the scene. In reality, it's there. It's not coming from any other source.
Very important point to make, and I thank you for that, because I was talking with some other folks in the field of ufology, and of course they're not scientists. The people that I was talking to they're journalists and so on, and people are very and also spoke to a Harvard professor, Avi Loeb, who is an astrophysicist. Although his area of expertise is not video analysis like ours and particularly yours are in this particular matter, and they always kind of say something of, well, we can't trust anything on video unless they personally capture it, and I think that what we'll be able to demonstrate is that's not true. You can analyze a video that you are not the original capture of, or you were not the photographer, you were not the videographer, or you don't even have the original phone. We can take a video and look at whether or not there is an artificial artifact added to it or not. And in this case, we can definitively say, to a degree of scientific certainty, that this entity, this thing in the video, is there in the physical reality in which the Kenmore family is also there. Would you agree with that statement?
Definitely. It's true. It's there. So after analyze the motion of the shadow, do you see this lines, this color, the squares on the screen?
Yes.
This was the first element to capture the motion, and you see it matches perfectly the motion of the shadow behind.
Yes, it does.
See this little square here. It represents the motion of the foot, the leg.
That is so convincing to me. The motion of the leg, and I keep going like this is so critical, because you can clearly see through the slots in the fence that there is a leg motion moving from the right to the left side of the screen, and clearly it is behind there. So this isn't just like a head floating in space. This is a head of that is somehow, that does not have full opacity. I think you previously determined that the opacity of the head of the shadow is only at about 33% opacity, versus a normal shadow, which would be at 100% opacity, or an object in the screen, which is at 100%. And this isn't anything that you did. It's just what you were able to determine, that this shadow being, or this being in the shadows, possibly creating its own shadow or smoky filter or cloaking technique, is not only cloaking itself from the people there, but cloaking itself from the camera itself, in that it's minimizing our ability to identify pixels inside of that shadow.
Exactly.
Angel said in one of his interviews that he was 8 to 10 feet tall, which is what we have here, skinny body, big eyes, and it looked like his leg was crooked or broken. So you've added here kind of a insect style leg feature, so that we could still get the normal motion of a walk gait, but have an additional reverse oriented appendage joint to reflect the possible perception of a human with some sort of ontological shock, seeing this being totally surprised, shocked, frozen, possibly from some sort of a just the shock of seeing a creature like this would freeze you, would scare you. And when he said he had a crooked leg or a broken leg, I think you've really captured that to a degree of accuracy. And with something that works in the world of human, or not human, but the world of biology. We know that there's insects that have this kind of leg configuration. It works on the 3D model. And I think we've got the size, the scale, the density of the being correct. So I'm really pleased with this. So
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Tosi. Tosi.
to help support the show, please go to patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. That's patreon.com/Crime Scene Time Machine. Only the price of a cup of coffee. And now, the end of the show. To the mysterious beings who may be watching, listening, or even among us, we extend an open invitation for transparency and revelation. We urge you to step out of the shadows and reveal yourselves without the aid of cloaking devices. We are not afraid, nor do we seek to sensationalize your existence. Rather, we invite you to operate in the open, engaging with us in a spirit of mutual understanding and cooperation. As the veil of secrecy begins to lift, the time for disclosure is upon us. We see you, we acknowledge your presence, and we are ready to embrace the reality of your existence. The question that remains is simple yet profound. Who are you, and what is your purpose in our world? Let us embark on a journey of discovery together, seeking answers to the mysteries that have eluded us for so long. The path to understanding begins with dialogue and openness. We await your response with anticipation and an unwavering commitment to uncover the truth that lies beyond the veil of secrecy. As always, I've been your host, Scott Roeder. This has been Crime Scene Time Machine, and I love you, everybody here on planet Earth.
Now that was very interesting. All right. Again, I dropped a link to this particular video that was dropped last night. All right. And again, wow. Just wow. You kind of look at that shadow again. It comes into frame. You can even see something right here. Interesting. Anyway, UAPs is trending on Twitter. All right, so that's nice. Keep this at the forefront of people's minds. You all are not going crazy. It's just that this whole topic, right, or the presence of other intelligences, UFOs, it has hit the mainstream. This is what mainstream looks like, and there's no going back. There's some sort of some piece of momentum that has absolutely taken off when it comes to everything around UFOs, UAPs. The momentum is there. We have had hearings in Congress, right? We've had whistleblowers coming out. Even recently this week, new whistleblower Jason Sands came out, right? And of course, he's being tore down, broke down in all of the various, outlets. It happens. Every whistleblower that comes out, gets that treatment there. People are so critical of someone that even mentions an experience that they may have had with a being that is not human. It's scary too many people, especially our politicians that work within the government, who continue to suppress this information from coming out. It scares people that it's even possible that there's a being that could be potentially higher on the food chain than us. Homo sapiens sapiens. And again, the darkest theory that I've heard when it comes to this whole topic has been the harvesting of souls. And I will continue to say this. If there is a threat that exists on Earth that affects human beings, us human beings have a right to know about what that threat is. We have a right. I don't think it's okay for these people that work in these classified programs who somehow, I don't know what happens to you all. You all get involved in these programs and you act like you're the only one that deserves to know the truth of what's really happening out here. And you don't. You're not the only one that deserves to know the truth. We've got beings that are literally crashing their vehicles in people's backyards. We've got people going missing by the thousands every year all over America, including in our national parks, who has a responsibility to that? Our government. You have a responsibility to maintain those national parks. You take all of our taxes to do so. We've heard everything from crash retrievals to the United States being in possession of 12 craft of non-human origin, including some of the bodies that were in some of these craft. Some of these craft fly remote. They don't even have a crew. Drones on steroids, folks, performing full-on missions. And shout out to Duval, not to mention what happened in Florida. We've got craft crashing in people's backyards. We have beings showing themselves in malls, very busy malls. Freaked people out. That police response alone tells me everything that I need to know. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that type of police response to teenagers having a fight at the mall. But a classic excuse nonetheless. And somebody got to the police department in Miami. Somebody stepped in, and all of a sudden, the police officers who received their pay by the state of Florida, along with federal grants, right, that allows many of these crooked police organizations to even exist, all of a sudden, we can't talk about that. Why not? You serve the public. It's bad enough that you all are at liberty to shoot people down anytime you feel like it, right? You don't even get in trouble for it, right? But now, all of a sudden, when it comes to the UFO topic, they can't talk about it. We can't talk about that. Bullshit. We've heard about private conversations and discussions happening with people that have money, who have put together these private meetings with whistleblowers. In these private meetings, talking about things under this topic, under this umbrella. But isn't that how this works? All the rich people, they want to vie first. They got to be the first in the know. And then you've got some that play around in the UFO community and clout chase the UFO community. It's true. It's true. But there's too much. There's just too much that has happened to be ignored. And when you have craft crashing in the backyards of people, and I want you to think about something here. The Eisenhower Treaty. Oh, that's just ridiculous, LeakYou, is it? Is it so ridiculous? Is it so ridiculous that our government could have made an agreement with beings that they knew nothing about, right? And these beings have been kidnapping, taking people out of their homes, their liberty, performing vast arrays of medical experiments and gathering reproductive material from men and women across the world who seem to be very interested in hotspots in the middle of war zones, right? And I'm just going through all sorts of things that, I've researched over the years. The story of Michael Herrera performing an actual mission with 5 other individuals and coming upon in Indonesia a craft the size of a football field that appeared to be trafficking human beings. You see, when you've got abductions happening and you've got an impedance on the human population, like crafts crashing in folks' backyards, okay? Suspected kidnappings, materializing in malls. Have you all had an opportunity to read the Project Kona Blue documents? All of these things I've described, the materializing, the rematerializing of mass, of matter, of these creatures' bodies, of their crafts. All of these things. Our government wrote about Project Kona Blue, dropped some documents. You should check it out. Went viral a couple of days ago, where our government put a whole plan together to retrieve technology associated to these beings, if that's what we want to call them. And I think, here's another thing I think bothers people, aside from the fact that these beings are potentially on the top of the food chain above us, which scares many people, right? The technology. Where have we gotten, for example, our internet technology, our FiOS level technology, where we're sending network packets over glass, right? There's talk that certain beings had this fiber technology in crafts as early as 1950. Check out Charles Hall's memoirs, Walking with the Tall Whites. Talk about a story that will absolutely blow you away. Listen, the other thing and I'll finish this, that scares people is the number of different species that there appears to be. It's not just the grays. It's not just the little short grays that walk like little penguins, right? The fact that it was never even just the short little grays. There's always been a variety of different species. And it kind of goes to the topic of cloning. These beings have cloned themselves into a position where they can't even reproduce with each other. And when you clone something, does that cloned being have a soul, right? There's so many questions. And then again, that very dark theory of the harvesting of souls, I think deserves a lot more investigation. And I don't think our government is capable. And I don't think holding that secret for just the very small amount of people that work in the government is fair, especially when a danger exists for the human population. And I'll leave it there. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Shout out to those of you on Twitter. I don't even think I need to go live on YouTube no more. If you're on Twitter, I see you all on a secondary Twitter page of mine as well, on the Faces of Meth. Subscribe to Leaks Online. I'm typically live over there, and I cover this type of content all the time. Before we get out of here, folks, allow me to pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
And I will go ahead and throw this out there as I bring this to a close. If anyone has any information that they want to share, and then you can reach me at tips@LeakYou.com. And you know, I'm also very interested in the stories of those that have had an experience, a somehow firsthand experience. I'm fascinated with everything around this topic, to be honest with you. So you know how to reach me, tips@LeakYou.com. I'm going to get up out of here. Shout out to those of you in the chat. Shout out to Queen's Throne in the building. My Twitter link is X, my X link. It's my handle is Leaks Online. You can find me over there on Twitter. I also have another Twitter page called Faces of Meth. All right, that I will sometimes stream on. But definitely come over to Leaks Online if you want to make sure you catch all my videos. I don't always remember to stream over to that secondary Twitter page. But I'll leave it right there. Thank you all for coming through. I'm out of here. I will catch you all later tonight around 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, about 5 hours from now. I'll be doing another live stream, so make sure you subscribe and set your notifications, folks. Until next time.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.